is it okay for me to give you advice on camera?
Oh my God, yeah, no, totally.
Are these bees going to bother you?
They don't
Are you
bother
afraid
me.
of bees?
I'm not afraid of them.
I'm not afraid of bees.
Wow, just really intense.
Wow, okay.
Oh, there we go. All right, should we begin?
Yeah.
We are at Lafayette Square outside the White House. This is Christi Parsons with the Tribune. You just interviewed Obama at this point, like what, 2 months ago?
Let's see. It was in February. Yeah,
February.
2 months ago.
So I thought you'd be a good person to talk to. Well, first of all, you've got like a much more interesting story about how you got the interview than most, because you've known him like forever.
Yeah, you've been working how many days to
Right,
get
I know.
your interview?
I know, right. You're on like the 20-year project.
Yeah, I'm on a 20-year. It
Yeah.
actually literally is 20 years.
And how many interviews have you gotten? I mean, since he came to Washington, how many interviews? Because you knew him back in the State Senate.
Yeah. Okay, so when he was elected to the State Senate in 1996, I actually did do a story on him during the campaign.
Yeah.
So it actually goes back 20 years. And then in the State House, my 10 years in the State House included his whole 8 years in the State House.
Right.
So I talked to him all the time then.
Yeah. So he's usually critical of the press. Was that always the case, like back in the State Senate, or has it gotten more and more?
Yeah. I mean,
Really?
he's always had a little bit of an edgy relationship with the press because he's just not.
Like more than the average politician, or the same as the average politician?
He had a little more, I would say, intellectual confidence in sparring with reporters.
right.
Whenever I can remember him pushing back on some questions that I was asking him about racial profiling one time, and it assumed that I had done, reading, and he was challenging me. He was really challenging the basis of something that I was asking him. So I wouldn't say I got an awful lot of that in the State House, but what I did get in the State House was people who would just walk away from me. I wasn't the senior reporter from the Chicago Tribune for most of my time there. But they would usually just blow me off.
Yeah.
He never did that.
Yeah.
He would, when I would stake him out, he would always stop to talk to me. And there have been some times while I've been covering him in this White House where he could have blown off a cross question and he didn't.
Yeah.
I think it's in his DNA or something too.
Who do you think's going to get like that? There's more than one, but who do you think are among the people who are going to get those exit interviews?
Those exit interviews? I think mine might have been one.
Yeah,
but,
right.
And I think
that's probably the start.
I think it's probably not. Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's going to be like one legacy interview. Let's talk about my life. I think Jeffrey Goldberg just had the exit interview on Obama foreign policy in the 19,000 words in the Atlantic, which I read every single one. It was really gold.
Yeah.
It was really, if you're a student of Obama, that was really gold.
So you think it will be sort of like the murderer's row of like you, Goldberg, Friedman, maybe David Brooks, like it'll be sort of the people that we know of as his favorites?
Well, not favorites,
What,
like
most
people who know the
Steve
subject matter,
Croft.
people who know the most about what he wants to talk about, I would say.
Does he ever feel obligated? Like, so in those cases, like, does he ever feel an obligation to give one, or he says, no, I'm just gonna, like, let's say there's somebody in the White House press briefing room that's gone to every single briefing, that knows him better than anybody, but maybe like Obama doesn't like him or has no relationship with that individual. Like, would he?
I wouldn't say he likes everybody he interviews.
But does he give him out of a sense of obligation, like I ought to do this, or it's solely like what he wants to do?
I think he wants to tell his story.
Yeah. I
do think there's somewhere in him there is like some sense of obligation that you take questions from the press on a regular basis, and he does need to. The press corps pushes him a lot on access, but he basically meets the same level that that was in place when Bush was president, Clinton was in the White House. So there's some sense of obligation there too. But he also wants to tell his story. He likes to tell his story, and he knows that really nobody can do it more effectively than he can. So I think he wants to sit down with, name your journalist, and talk about the thing that they know.
Thanks, good brainstorming conversation.
Is that how these interviews typically go? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm hoping to interview the President of the United States, and was hoping you could help me out with how to do that. Hey, I want to introduce myself. I'm Patrick.
Of course.
I'm new here.
Yes.
I just want to say hi. And